Welcome to the Pineapple Perspective. I'm your host, Troy Hooper, and this is a very, very special episode. We are at the National Restaurant Association Show 2025. We are kicking off the show with an awesome guest, one of the biggest guests we've ever had. This is Kelly Esten, CMO of Toast. Welcome, Kelly.
Troy, thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited to be here at the National Restaurant Show and to start the day with you.
I'm so excited to start the show off with you. This show, first time doing a podcast booth. We are live to the audience. There's a TV, there's a speaker. People out in the show can hear us and watch us. We're in a little fishbowl. How different?
I've never been in a fishbowl like this either, and it's really fun because we've got our own space, but you can also see the whole show floor behind us.
Everybody's walking by.
Oh, there's so much going on.
Opened up the show. We won't talk about who we think did that, but that's okay. Kelly, let's get into this. Our show is pretty to the point, but we always start off talking about hospitality. Kelly Esten, what does hospitality mean to you?
You know, when I think about hospitality, I really think about something like this, sitting across from a friend or a colleague and looking them in the eye and having the opportunity to really connect. And hospitality, I think, is about how you make people feel, how you connect with people, how you make them feel seen and heard in their environments. And one of the things that I've been thinking and talking a lot about lately is in a world of increasing technology where everything's starting to move to tech and automation, what's going to be left is hospitality and the opportunity to create those moments, to interact with people, to make people feel special. And so, you know, that's what makes our industry special. But I think it moves beyond our industry into really every business and every interaction that we have.
We always take this question one step further. So my question now is, where does that come from inside of you? Where did that thesis or that belief system grow? There's got to be an impetus. There's got to be a backstory. How did you come to that thought of what hospitality means to you?
You know, for me, I grew up in a family where my dad always told stories of working in restaurants in high school and college. That's how he put himself through school, working in an Italian restaurant in Long Beach, California. And he always told those stories as core to him growing up and how people treated him and how he treated others. And he taught us a lot about how to treat people, you know, grounded in his experience in hospitality. But coming to Toast, I've been at Toast 8 years now. I've really had the opportunity to talk to thousands of customers all across the country and increasingly the world, hear their stories about hospitality and how it comes to life in their businesses. And it's really helped me put a language to hospitality, which is just at the core of Toast values and the values of all of our customers.
What you made me think of there is how difficult it seems to be, or a lot of people say they think it is, to make technology hospitable. You work for a massive technology corporation. You provide hardware and software solutions and tools that run our business in this industry and in retail. But how does Toast make it hospitable, or how do you bring hospitality to such a technologically based company? And I think that's a question for all of the companies, whether in restaurant tech or any other technology world. There's all this concern in the hospitality part among a lot of operators is, kiosks and all these screens and all these tablets and all these handhelds, but how do we make it hospitable? Talk a little bit about how you view technology being able to enhance hospitality.
Absolutely. You know, when we think about our mission at Toast, it's to make restaurants successful. And we talk a lot about restaurants having the opportunity to delight guests, do what they love, and thrive. And what that means is that we're there to enable the staff, the teams, the restaurateurs to do what they do best. And it's usually not managing a whole bunch of technology, although as restaurant brands grow, they often do have people that specialize in that. It's really about how do you make those moments where the staff wants to show up and interact with a guest or make really special food possible and have technology enable that in the background. And all the tablets and handhelds and kiosks and all the things are really there as a vehicle for that hospitality. And so we think about two things when we're building technology. One is, how do we put those tools in the hands of people? So we think about employees, guests, and owner-operators as our three core audiences that we're building for, and what is their experience of that technology going to be? And the other one is we've really put community at the heart of our brand. And so when we think about how we show up as a brand, how we're getting input into how we build the right technology. It's by tapping into our community and understanding what's the technology that's going to make them successful. And, we don't try to be front and center. We're really trying to put those tools in the hands of great people who can do great work and show up with that hospitality. One kind of North Star for us is if you think about, all the things that someone who's staffing a restaurant has to do every day, what we want to do is have the technology allow them to focus on being in front of the guest more versus having them spend all their time in front of the technology. So how do we make it so easy to use, so smart, so clear in what it's asking a staff member to do that the staff can just take care of it really quick and then spend more time in front of the guest? And if that's your goal, I think we're all winning from a hospitality
Yeah, that's
perspective.
exactly what I was thinking of as you were speaking. Is I think of that handheld and the ability to get 2 times the time back. I don't have to write it down or, God forbid, still try to memorize it. If your servers in a full service restaurant are claiming to memorize, it happened to me yesterday at the airport, lovely lady, great personality, but at least one thing in every course was wrong. Come on, let's use these handhelds, okay? But you allow them to get the order. It goes straight to the kitchen. They don't have to go stand behind a point of sale anymore in a server station. It allows them to spend more time with the guest and or focus more on accuracy, right? Are they in the expo station? Are they keeping those drinks refilled more often? That drives check. That does a lot of great things. So I really appreciate that focus of how the technology is an enabler to hospitality. I'll give an example with us. We just put kiosks in at Pepper Lunch. And while, yes, we wanted to drive discovery of our sides and our drinks and the coming dessert, and we wanted people to add on the accoutrement to make the dish more expensive to drive checkup, sure, we wanted to enable the guest to be more empowered. We wanted them to be more informed. That makes them more connected to the brand. And we didn't just put a kiosk on the counter and say good luck.
Right.
We created a position called a hospitality host, a greeter and ambassador combined, where they're greeted, they're welcomed, they're segmented between guests who've been with us before and not been with us before. And there's an interaction there to have with that guest, and it's shoulder to shoulder, it's side by side, it's in person, it's human touch and hospitality accompanied by a big, sexy, beautiful piece of technology, right?
Yeah.
But that's, I think, where we have to go as an industry.
In full service models, we're hearing people test out captains models, which is the same idea as a host. And I think if you have great technology enabling your team, you have the ability to hire staff members or focus your staff members more on hospitality. So a captain model's job is to do as many table touches as they can and to really make sure they're walking the floor and saying, hey, do you need a refill? Have you tried the dessert? Have you seen this special? Versus the focus being on taking the order, writing the order into the point of sale, coming back, taking the order again. When the technology takes care of all that admin work, all that walking back and forth to the kitchen and the POS that happens, then that captain or that host can focus on being in front of the guest and delivering that hospitality versus, running back and forth, writing things into a computer.
Yeah, I come from full service fine dining, and I'll just say to anybody listening, empower your team to have authentic engagement. Give them the time and give them the resources, give them the freedom to listen and observe. Some tables require leave them alone. They're having a serious conversation. They're having a sentimental conversation. You just need to be invisible and refill and get those things done. And some, they're guests, they're visiting. They're obviously talking about what they're doing and where they're going here in Chicago, or what's the best sites to see. Engage, jump in, be a part of that conversation. So I love that. Kelly, let's talk about technology. What are you most excited about for technology in the restaurant industry over the next, let's say, year or two? What's happening?
I think we can't be here talking about technology in the future and not talk about AI.
AI, the buzzword,
It's the
2
buzzword
letters.
show.
Let's put some meaning behind AI.
Yeah. So, for us, one of the things, it actually dovetails perfectly into the conversation we were just having, this idea of personalization and this idea of when you walk into a restaurant, whether it's a quick service restaurant, fast casual, or full service, or even fine dining, what if I knew who you were and knew a little bit about you, your preferences, your allergies, your favorite food, maybe what occasion you're celebrating? This has been something that many of us have been working on for years and really becomes possible in a much more scaled manner with AI. So a couple of the things that we're showcasing at the show are the ability to do something called digital chits. In a full service environment, it's a very common practice to have a little chit about a guest. Hey, it's a birthday. and here's a few things to know, and pass it to a server. But what we're doing is putting that right on the handheld, right in the point of sale, so that when you walk up to a table, you've got a little note at the top that says, hey, this is Kelly. She's a VIP. Her son has a tree nut allergy, and you might want to offer her a glass of white wine. And if you have that, it really enables people to feel personal. And same thing in quick serve. Maybe your last order shows up right away when you scan into a kiosk, or maybe the menu personalizes to you because we know you're a vegetarian. And so those opportunities to use data and AI to power these experiences that are personalized, that allow us to feel special in a restaurant environment, that allow us to feel seen, really can enable restaurants to take hospitality to the next level. So that's my favorite application that we're playing with right now. But there's a ton of other automation and marketing and loyalty that we can talk about too.
Yeah, I mean, at Pepper Lunch, we're using AI for marketing first. We have not, a human has not created copy in over a year at our company because we fed an AI engine of our own GPT for about 15 months.
Incredible.
So what does that do? It takes my director of marketing out of the business of writing copy and into the business of being creative and thinking about the trends or the talking points or the change of our language in the business. What do we want to focus on and be more creative and thoughtful, and then let the engine produce the work at scale? Because today we post 3 posts a day on every platform.
Incredible.
So, we're using different modalities, but we're very focused on AI for that. For us as a franchisor, we're writing AI agents so that our franchisees have easy access to information. Where's the checklist, the SOP, the manual, the picture, the build plan, whatever. They can just find it at their fingertips right there on their phone, right?
Very cool. Yeah, we're doing a lot of the same things internally at Toast, but we're also trying to build those tools into our own platforms that we provide for restaurants. So one example of that is we can have a built-in the Toast system, kind of like a custom GPT, the opportunity for you to define your brand voice and tone, to define your brand colors, to talk about the key messages you want to do, and then automate campaigns that talk in your brand voice and connect into segments of guests in your restaurant. So for example, everyone runs a birthday campaign, but we make sure through the AI that every single restaurant's birthday campaign is different.
Right.
And that it's in their brand voice, and that they have the ability to customize that and automate that using AI. And we're extending that to text and social media, creating posts. It's been really fun to see what happens. And sometimes we release things to our restaurant customers and I'm like, wait a second, I want that for my marketing team. How do I get that for Toast marketing?
Yeah, I want personalized one-to-one, right? Know what I drink, know that I come once a week or twice a week.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take months to recognize, for me to keep coming, for you to recognize us.
Right.
I'll shout out a little scenario. We go to Lazy Dog near my home in Ventura, California, usually about once a week because it's an easy solve for the family to have brunch, lunch, or dinner on any particular occasion. And my son loves mac and cheese. And look, shout out Lazy Dog. It's Kraft mac and cheese out of a box. I'm so glad it is. Thank you for doing that. He doesn't like fancy mac and cheese. But they have this SOP of putting the little silver spoon in a very hot bowl of, sorry, calling you out, of mac and cheese. And when my son was 2, it's too hot.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, come on, that doesn't make any sense from an SOP restaurant to restaurant standpoint.
I've got some feedback.
Yeah. And so now when I take my son and when he orders, and I hope it's not because we're the pain in the ass family that complain.
Never.
But the spoon's on the side whenever he gets, and I always get that wink or that nod or the welcome back, we know it's you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But to be able to empower that at scale and know that when Mark Bailey and I show up, Mark's going to get a Chardonnay, Troy's going to get a rum and ginger ale.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think just the welcome back, if you're scared about AI, you don't want that big brother recognition, just recognizing that somebody's a regular or that they've been here before. And, because I go to restaurants, have you ever been here before? Yeah, at least once a week for the last 7 years I've been here before, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, let's use this information.
Well, and if you think about the staff turnover that's typical in a restaurant environment, it's up to often the staff to recognize you, to provide that opportunity to say, welcome back. And so it's like, how do you take that factor out and make it so that no matter which server you get, whether it's your favorite one who always recognizes you or not, you have that special experience. And I find like whether I'm entertaining family or friends or for business, the ability for me to walk into a restaurant and know that I'm going to be taken care of and remembered it's going to make me want to come back and do it there again. And it really makes you feel special.
I've always said this, and this comes from full service, but I think it's very true in QSR fast casual. Recognition is the game. If you recognize your customer and you acknowledge them, that is all you have to do. You can get any piece of the rest of the equation wrong on any given day. That is forgiven. Recognition is the connection point for sure. Kelly, let's talk about a couple of other things with Toast. I don't think the cat's out of the bag loud enough. You surprised me a little over a year ago. It's actually been 13 months. I know where we were when you said this to me. But Toast does enterprise. And if you've been under a rock and you didn't know that Jamba Juice or Edibles, or did they change their name? Edible Arrangements is now...
Ooh, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, I think they just shortened it. But these companies, and now you can release some others, that Toast was traditionally and had built your business on SMB.
Absolutely.
A single unit, small 3-unit, 5-unit, emerging chains, SMB. But talk to us about Toast for Enterprise, and let's kind of educate that audience about what's possible, and then we can talk a little about Toast and Pepper Lunch maybe.
Awesome. I love it. So, absolutely. We started with independent restaurants at our core, and that's who we built for the first 10 years, 12 years that we've been Toast. But actually, we've been serving, what I would call, many people call emerging brands, or we would call mid-market brands for a long time. I've been at Toast 8 years. And even when I joined Toast 8 years ago, we had emerging brands on Toast. But we've had the opportunity over the last few years, 4 or 5 years in particular, really since COVID, to invest heavily in our enterprise platform. And the reason we did that is because many enterprise executives were going out, having great experiences in independent restaurants, often fine dining, full service, where they were using Toast, and then going back to their IT teams and saying, why can't we have that in our restaurant? And they'd say, Toast isn't enterprise ready. But what we've built over the last year is really, last few years, is really a couple things. One is all the above store tools for the corporate teams that allow you to manage restaurants at scale, hundreds or thousands of restaurants. Some of it's the fun stuff, but some of it's stuff like permissions and menu management and locations and security that you really need as a corporate team to manage a company and to manage a large group of restaurants. And the second one is what I call advanced service models. What we've seen in enterprise restaurants is they often have an SOP, a way of working, a way they want to operationalize things in their restaurants, and our technology needs to enable them to do things their way and adjust whether it's the order workflow or the KDS system to their SOPs. And so we've really built in that flexibility and more ways of working and service models into those tools to allow restaurant brands to grow. And so, we've been really honored to bring brands even this quarter like Applebee's and Topgolf onto the platform, as well as over the past few years, brands like Marriott and Hilton in the hotel space for their food and beverage businesses, and many more.
That's exciting. And I don't think the word's out. I know it's your job to get the word out, yes. And that's not a nick on you, but it's new, and it's newer.
It is new.
And I think it's a little hard to get the word out in a convincing way to say, I know you think of us as this,
right?
But we really can and do very well at very large scale now this. And so I'm excited to share that we have made a commitment at Pepper Lunch. Here in North America, we're rolling out our new stores, and we have 85 and growing stores under active development. And we are working with the Toast team on globalization of Toast at Enterprise for Pepper Lunch, and that will hopefully be coming in the next year or so. So if you don't think of Toast as an enterprise solution, I will encourage you to look at it very closely and get with the team at Toast and ask those hard questions. But my gosh, if you're at these large brands, and congratulations, Applebee's is a massive, massive brand. Kelly, let's wrap up the show. This is the infomercial. I know it may sound like it's been an infomercial the whole time. It's not. This is meaningful conversation that I think people will get value from. But we always want to end the show with kind of your commercial. What, besides AI and enterprise, what's exciting? Whether it's marketing for restaurants, enabling restaurants with other tools or new tools, what do you want to talk about so that the customer understands what's possible?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for having us, and thank you for being a partner of Toast. Growing brands on Toast is absolutely who we're most excited to work with. And you hit on two of our big investment areas, enterprise and international, are huge areas of growth for Toast. And so thanks for being a partner on that journey. When I think about what I'm most excited about at Toast is First, the opportunity to invest heavily in the point of sale. We don't see the point of sale as a static part of the product right now. We think it's probably going to be the most dynamic part of the product for the next few years as all this new technology comes in. So watch this space because point of sale is going to change with all the new technology available to us. And so you'll see us investing and putting things like AI and data and benchmarking directly into the point of sale included, and not as a separate fee. And the second one is, how do you really start to unify your channels? I think one thing that is very top of mind for the industry is the cost of delivery, both for consumers and for restaurants. And so we're really looking to put together the tools across your first party ordering, your point of sale, your guest data to connect the dots and make it easy for you to own your brand, know your guests, and have that relationship with them directly, as well as empower your employees to make that come to life for them in the restaurant.
Yeah, I think as an outside observer and now a partner at Toast, one thing I've been saying for a number of years now, 2 or 3 years, that I think we're starting to see come to fruition is this connectivity of the features that are going to basically create an operating system. I think we're going to a world, we used to be in the old micro NCR Aloha world where there was just one thing. Yep. It was a point of sale that might have tried to do other stuff, but now we're taking all of these independent features, all these independent tools, and I see the world where we come back to a single partner or primary partner that can enable the majority of our business network tools that we need to interconnect and do all the different things that we need to do as a more advanced industry now. And I appreciate what Toast is trying to do, and I'm excited about those things coming together for sure.
I think connection is going to be the key, and the ability to connect the dots across all parts of the business will be what helps us take most advantage of all the new tools available to us.
Kelly Esten from Toast, thank you so much for coming on The Pineapple Perspective. You're a great friend. You're an excellent partner to the industry, to myself, to our brand. We're glad to have you and so excited you got to take the time here at NRA 2025 to join us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Troy.
Thank you for listening to The Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.